Hey guys, it's Crystal Lee Moore Lucia here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Crystal Lee Moore. This is Realtor Life, and I'm so happy that you're here. Okay, so guys, there's so much to talk about. Um, First of all, I just wanted to talk about the fact that right now, if you're anything like me, you are being inundated, and I mean inundated with people left, right, and center offering to send you business plans and business planning sessions and business planning tools. And if I'm honest, it's almost overwhelming because they're all different. And at the end of the day, they are different, but they're not different, right? So at the like you can't do all of them, but it's a great idea to pick one, go into it, and figure it out. Um, I did a business planning session with a gentleman named Webb. We're going to have Wade on as a guest very soon, which I'm very excited about. But Wade went through and had a whole system for us to go through and kind of look at what we had been doing, what we would be doing, where we wanted to go. And then he broke down, based on that, kind of how many people we needed to reach out to. When I do my Buffini business planning, it's very much the same. We start with the big picture and we kind of go down to like what do we need to do every day, like those actual actionable tasks. The Kathleen Black business planning, I started it today and then I had to step away for a meeting, so I'm excited to try that out as well. Richard Robbins just sent me their business planning, and the thing is, like, it's kind of like what's the best CRM, the one you're going to use? What's the best business planning tool, the one you're going to use? Because as much as we have all of these options, a lot of agents and a lot of people go into a new year without a plan. Don't be that person, right? Like we want a plan. And that plan, really at the end of the day, we just want to like break it down. What are you going to do to get to your goals? Right? So you can have these great lofty goals, but how do we break those down into action steps? And I know with Buffini, this is kind of where I I love the foundation, the fundamentals. We've talked about it before. It's like the calls, the notes, the pop-bys. You want to love on your clients, show them that you care, and then just keep that going. But also make sure that you're continuously learning. You're always able to give that expert advice, and you're trying to make your clients feel cared for. And at the end of the day, like, you don't have to be perfect. I'll give you actually a really funny example. So, I just made a big oops, and I'm big enough to admit it. So I sponsor the Magic of Lights here in London every single year. Love it. I love it. I love supporting the community. I love loving all my clients, giving out tickets. So they sent me my tickets this year, and I don't know what happened. And I think I should have just delegated it out, right? So it was so tired, was so busy with everything. But I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna send these out. So um I I guess I opened the wrong file, and guys, I sent out all of the tickets to the people this year, but I had renamed the file because I thought it was the new file, but it was an old file. Anyway, last year's tickets. Luckily, one of my clients, who is such a sweetheart, messaged me and she's like, "Hey, just heads up, we went to this event and we had last year's ticket. They let us in." But like, oh my gosh. So right away, so I sent an email to everyone. And then I had my assistant, I sent it to her. I'm like, please track these, you send them out. And now we're just waiting for some extra tickets because we hadn't even had as many tickets as I thought. So it's one of those things where, like, when you're busy, this is why you delegate. This is why you figure it out. But if you mess up, you just tell people. So I just sent an email right away. I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. You're just please expect a new email with your ticket. It's coming. And the thing is, like, people don't need you to be perfect. We're all human beings, and that happens. But you also, if something happens, you also have to own it, right? So, anyway, that was my little oopsies. But when we're business planning, it's the same principle applies. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it in like a beautiful, like laminated duotang. Like you can just write it out. And I find it's very helpful when there is a template to go through. But one of the things I noticed when I was doing my business planning prep, you can't go forward without looking back. So if you're in a system like I use Buffini Referral Maker, which I love, but if you're using like Follow Up Boss or Salesforce or whatever CRM, hopefully you're using a CRM, um, you should be able to track your numbers. So you're going to need to know like what was your average sales price. For this year, I had to figure out what was my average days on market. And actually, it's funny when you look at averages because I know some of them were like long, but some of them were not so long. And so the average actually wasn't so bad for 2025. And then your average commission and your like percentage and your average commission paycheck. And then how many houses did you sell? How many of those were buyer sales? How many of those were listing sales? Now, I know this is very real estate specific, but you can do the same thing in any other business. You just want what are your metrics? So basically, like you figure that out. But then with Buffini, we also look at, and Webb's did this too, how many conversations do you have to have in order to get one client? With Buffini, it's how many conversations do you have to get one referral, and how many referrals do you have to get a deal, right? So boom, boom, boom. And it's kind of cool because when you break it down, it's like, I think at one point mine was like 18 to 1. I don't know if it's the same now, but it's like I had to talk to 18 people to get one referral, and then um like 6 referrals to get to one deal or something. I don't remember the number of the second one, unfortunately. I'm in the middle of doing all this. But the thing is, like, you need to go back and do your numbers. So it's not something you can do in like an hour. So you do want to like take some time and just go. But if you like one of the things you can do, your office will have, or you should have your actual revenue. So if like with real estate, it's a bit easier. Like you can ask your office for all of your trades, right? Right. So that's pretty much like that's what you made. Not what you get to keep, that's what you made. And then with any other business, like you can just go per person, per deal, what did you make? And then you kind of reverse engineer it. How do you go back in time and where did that person come from? And let's say it came from Bob. And then how did you meet Bob? And then you kind of just trace it back and you can really just figure that out and make sure that you're always thanking people when they send you a connection or a referral, but also make sure that you're keeping in touch with these people. And the thing is, a conversation is always a good idea. So I just went to the Kathleen Black Summit, the 10th anniversary. It was so, so good. I you know how sometimes you know you need something and you don't know what it is. And I like 3 weeks before this event, I remembered that I thought I had maybe a credit. So I messaged and I said, "Hey, like, do I still have a credit?" Because they had moved the event a couple years before and I couldn't go to the new date. And they said, "Yeah, you do have a credit." And so I invited a colleague of mine because my team couldn't go, and then she wasn't able to come at the last minute. So I was able to reach out to someone in the area. So I reached out to a really good friend and colleague who's a realtor in the area, in Niagara Falls, and she came with me. And number one, she said like she had thought of going, she hadn't really put it together, and it was kind of like one of those blessings in disguise. I really was excited to share this with someone, so that was really cool. And the conference itself was so good. Like it's just you're being like for 3 days, you're surrounded by these top producers, great energy, an amazing company with people that really care. And I've done coaching with Kathleen Black in the past. I've been to the events um, at different stages of my business, but I always leave just feeling like $1 million, like so excited. And like credit to Kathleen and her team because it's not fluff. Like you can tell that they really mean they mean what they say. They put their money where their mouth is. And yeah, just so good. And one of the things, there's a session, and I think if anyone knows me for like 5 seconds, I'm big on vision boards. So we do a vision board every single year on something called Vision Day. So this year we're having 2 Vision Days. So Cindy, my assistant, and I had our Vision Day together in November, like we always do. But Mina, who's on our team, who's now a mama, and Mandy are going to be doing a vision day with us in January, along with Hannah, who's our new assistant. So we're going to have a five-person vision day, and it'll be mostly focused on planning the year, but also the vision board, which is really important. Um, when I used to think of vision boards, I used to think of someone bringing out a whole bunch of magazines and then me hoping I find the right thing in the magazine. We've actually gone another direction, and we kind of go backwards. We make all the goals and then we go searching on the internet. We pull the pictures and we put it onto a Word document and print it out. And then it's the background on my phone, it's the background on my computer. It is like hanging in my gym. It's everywhere because it's so important and it works, guys. But at this conference, we had a presentation by a woman named Debbie Sluys. And Debbie has a company called Dare to Declare, and she also has a podcast. But what we did, she had us to pick our word for 2026. I definitely recommend you pick your word. So if you go to her website, you can actually like do the exercise. I'm going to summarize it. But basically, what she said was like, do you have a big goal? And if you have a big goal, she gives you a time to like write down what it is and then write down when you would like this to be true. Not when you know it'll be true, but when you'd like it to be true. And then how you will feel when it comes true. Okay. So then it's really cool. So you do all that, and then you have your word, like how you're going to feel. And then she asks a very logical question. And she's like, are you willing to wait until that date to feel this way? And we're like, heck no, no, we're not. And so it was pretty cool. We went around. I am a free spirit. So I wrote two words. I am joyful and free. Um, Both are very important to me, and those are my words for 2026. So if you don't have time, so if you have time to go and check out Debbie Sluice, she's very cool. Either way, pick out a word for next year. The word should just be something that inspires you. Like this year, my word was radiate. And I think last year, my word was inspire. And so it's kind of like, it's a cool touch point to really bring you in, reel it in. So when you're picking your word of the year, I would say if you're really stuck, you can actually go and just find like there's lists everywhere. You can do one of those games, looks like a crossword puzzle, and you can actually just like, what's the first word you see? Or with the first three words you see, and then pick one of those. There's a really cool agent in Royal LePage, and she asked me what my word of the year was, and she had it engraved and sent to my office. She did that for a bunch of agents, and it was so cool. And it was just such a cool idea because it's like, first of all, who goes out of their way like that? Um, and I believe she's in Eugene, Oregon. It's Joanne Zabrowski. So Joanne Zabrowski, thank you so much. Eugene, Oregon. And she just like went out of her way to do this thing, and it was the coolest. So like when you're looking at like how can you stand out to your clients, that's very important. How can you stand out to your peers? I don't know if I'm ever going to have a chance to refer anyone to Eugene, Oregon. But if I do, 100%, I want them to be able to deal with someone like Joanne, right? So like just think about that when you're moving forward. Okay, so the other thing was cool. So when we go to conferences, so sometimes what people do, they go to conferences and they all hang out together. And I get it, right? Like you like your colleagues, it's a great time to spend time together. But there's also a lot of opportunities to meet other people, right? To meet other agents, other people. And I will say, like at this conference, I met some people who I'm very sure are going to end up being friends, like just amazing, amazing people and just deep connections. But they weren't from my city and they weren't from my brokerage. They're from other cities all over the country. That's the other thing that I really liked. So I really enjoyed that this Kathleen Black conference, just like Richard Robbins, very Canadian. And the reason that that's important, the biggest reason for me is that the events, everything is here, like they're here. And that makes it a little bit easier right now. But it also is kind of cool. Like I can just drive there. It was like 2 hours. Whew. And so I know a lot of my counterparts who are amazing in the US already feel that way because they get to just drive to like a Buffini event. But it is nice to not have to like go through all the flying and everything. Um, I appreciate the flying, but sometimes it's nice to not do it. Um, the other thing they talked about, and this is really cool, so it was the whole health success. So one of the agents shared about his journey and how he was feeling really successful, but he was feeling, ugh, something was wrong. And he realized his health was really taking a toll. And the thing is, I think we can all agree, none of us want to be super successful if our health falls apart, right? I had some health issues in the health scares earlier this year, and I had to cut back on a bunch of stuff. Because the thing is, you have one body, you have one life, and we have the ability to be very successful, but it doesn't matter if you're not around to enjoy it, right? So what they were talking about is some pretty cool things. So there was this thing called brain tap, and I don't have it with me, but so Brain Tap is a subscription-based thing, but they're all like meditations. You buy a headset though, and it has red light therapy. My husband was laughing at me when I had it on, but you wear it and it's just like somewhere between 5 and 20 minutes. Like most of them are about 20 minutes. Um, but it's just like there's nighttime ones to like calm your brain, and then there are daytime ones, morning ones to like really wake you up. Um, I think they're really cool. Like I don't know, I don't have a baseline to really figure out what it's doing, but I do feel good, so that's good. And we also talked about red light therapy in general, the importance of making sure you're having enough vitamins and minerals, protein, getting enough sleep, all the things that we've been hearing for years and years and years, but it's really coming to the point where we need to do it, especially at a time. I don't know if you can tell in my voice, I'm just coming off of this like really silly cold situation where I don't even know if I would call it a cold, but I ended up like for 2 or 3 nights in a row coughing so much that I couldn't sleep. Um, and then just riding it out till it goes away. Thankfully, I had my flu shot. I'm very healthy. It's not going to last very long, but there's a strong cold and flu season hitting us. And I know a lot of people, family, friends, colleagues, clients who have already been like down for the count for at least 1 or 2 weeks. So stay healthy, guys. I'd say drink lots of vitamin C. Apparently, that's a myth, but it's a myth that feels good. So I would say there's no harm in it. And lots of tea. I love tea. So basically, guys, that's kind of the whole kit and caboodle. I just wanted to say, like, the whole thing with conferences, I know I've talked about this before, but it's just getting re-energized, getting revitalized. Um, there was like a mini conference I got to go to this week for Aurea Powerhouse, and Prince Harry spoke. There was like a big uproar in the real estate community because people were like, what is he going to talk about? And he actually like led with saying like, I'm not here to give you advice about housing. Like good on him. He was actually talking about core values and how his time in the military, and his time growing up really, um, helped him shape his core values, but also helped him realize the importance of mental health and mental fitness and how like you can't pour from an empty cup. And we talk about that a lot and what an important time um, in the world to remind everyone of that because mental health is a real issue. It is something that people deal with all over the place, and especially like as much as it becomes just a news headline, there are a lot of my colleagues in our city and other cities whose businesses have really, really struggled. Um, because if you didn't have the systems, and you were kind of really busy in 2021, 2022, 2023, it all of a sudden can come to a bit of a grinding halt without those systems because it was a different market. As Buffini just said in his bold predictions, which I recommend you guys listen to when it comes out, it was an artificial market and it's not coming back. And so, whether it's clients, whether it's colleagues, friends, family, mental health is very important. And we just want to make sure that we are there for each other and that we are there to listen. And if people need the time, take the time. If you feel like you're on the verge of burnout, do something. Take a day, take a morning, take whatever, because running on empty doesn't work. And if your body shuts down on burnout, you're shut down for a bit. Um, yeah, you just want to be careful. So then the other thing with conferences, it doesn't have to be a conference. It's whatever is going to energize you, right? So like what lights that fire back up? Because I will tell you, I feel like my fire has been lit back up and I'm very excited. And the thing is, sometimes that is scary. Like I made a change and kind of on the fly last week. Um, and I am excited about it. I'm nervous. I'm excited about it too, though. And the thing is, when we go out of our comfort zones, that's where the magic happens. And I think I've been hearing it and saying this for years and years, but you really do. I'm more of like a tiptoe into the water person. And sometimes it's just time. And I've been praying to kind of figure this out. Um, and just to help all the pieces kind of go into place. And I think we're finally getting there. Um, The other thing that's key is like being around people that energize you, right? So go where you feel energized and be around who you feel energized with and who can you energize? Who can you lift up? Like, I guess if you're around people and somehow like you always end up getting into negativity, right? That's not good. But you want to be around people where like you leave and you feel like lighter, better, right? And you want to help other people feel that way too. And so I think that's where when you go to things where like-minded people will also be there, that's the key. And so I want to leave you guys with this. Definitely pick a word of the year. Okay. Like I said, mine is I'm joyful and free. Debbie had us put, like, we had to put it on a card and then she had a bunch of stickers, which were fun. This one actually says you can't pour from an empty cup. And that wasn't even the same conference. Um, but it was really cool. So I would say like it's a good thing because you can just put it somewhere, right? Put it somewhere that you can see it. Um, and the other thing I want you guys to do is think about your vision, like a vision board, goal setting, all of that. But where can you go that will just make you feel good? Right? Where can you go? Who can you be around that will help you feel good? And is there a way that you can start a business plan? Even if it's just literally looking backwards to see how your year was, like call it a review day, whatever you want. And then if this was actually a really cool thing. Andra Arnold in Guelph, who I love, she put it this way to me because I think a lot of us don't look like we love helping people and money is important, but we're not always money motivated. And she said, just put it in terms of families. Like just say, I want to help 5 more families next year or 5 more people. And I thought that was so great. So depending on what motivates you, you can put it in different terms. And I really, I feel very blessed for all the people and colleagues that I have been able to meet and connect with. But it really comes down to figuring out what's going to motivate you and just taking time because you deserve it, but your business deserves it too, right? Like, how can you make next year even better than this year? Okay, I know you can do it. We can absolutely do it. And so the big thing to leave here with is, right? What did we say? Word of the day or word of the year? Word of the day. That's a lot of words. Word of the year, you're going to figure out where you can go for just for re-energizing yourself, even if it's going to like a gym class or something. And then figure out the business plan, start working on it, and remember to try and book some time for recharging and resting over the holidays. It's going to be an important thing to do. And at the end of the day, what we all have is just us, right? So if you come into 2026 feeling recharged and refreshed, look out, right? It'll be an amazing year. But if you don't give yourself that time, then it's just going to feel like exhausting. And I don't know. I'd rather be energetic. What about you? Right? Okay. So, guys, this is Realtor Life. Krystal Lee Moore Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor. Krystal Lee Moore, I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing holiday. And it is still, there's still time to love on your clients, to love on your friends, love on your family, and rest and recharge before we hit it hard in the new year. Bye.